First of all, in Durban, Christlyn Ramdio from Unilever. There you see her. Christlyn, good morning to you. And sitting next to me here in Johannesburg is Kim Reddy from the research house Nielsen. Kim, good morning to you. Let me start with you. What was your brief? What informed this research?
So Knorr is looking to champion good food and healthy living in South Africa. So we wanted to understand what the eating habits of South Africa was so that Knorr could actually provide stakeholders with this information to make the changes that we need to. Stakeholders, excuse the pun as well, because we're a nation of meat eaters and we eat a lot of starch. There's no surprise there. Absolutely not. It's a South African culture. It speaks to a lot of things, convenience, it speaks to accessibility, it speaks to affordability as well. So meat is a big portion of the plate, and starch obviously comes in when you talk about more lower income people and the affordability issues, because it's about tummy fill and sustainability, keeping you fuller for longer. Okay, Christlyn in Durban, good morning to you again. Why then do we eat badly, and what, in your opinion, does healthy eating actually mean?
So, Jeremy, I think, South Africans are not aware that they are actually eating unhealthy. Basically, we are eating foods that we grew up with, we are eating foods that are affordable, and we are eating foods that are just there for tummy fill, and eating foods that the family actually enjoys. So consumers are not aware that they're actually eating food that is not good for their health. The second thing is we need to actually educate consumers that what they eat is actually impacting their health. They do not see the link at the moment. They are aware of what healthy food is, so vegetables and fruit and the likes, but we don't actually see that behavior coming through in how they consume. So as a brand, we really want to drive the awareness of the link between what you eat and your health, and really want to educate and inspire consumers to choose to eat better.
What was no surprise, as I mentioned, was we're a nation of meat eaters. We're eating too much starch, too few vegetables. We also are not eating the right vegetables, though, are we, Christlyn?
Absolutely. I mean, the vegetables we're eating are the really affordable ones, so your tomatoes, onions, carrots, and it's the ones we generally consume in curries or stews. And we need to eat more, legumes and pulses, which actually have a lot more nutritional value as well. And these are almost like your forgotten foods, your forgotten vegetables, your indigenous vegetables to the country. And these are the ones we want to bring to the forefront.
So how do we change, I wonder, the mindset of South Africans in that respect then? What do we need to do?
So there's a couple of things that we need to do. So, Knorr wants to take the charge and lead the charge to fix the broken food system. And that involves a number of layers. So it starts with the brand and influencers, it starts with chefs, it starts with NGOs as well as farmers. And if we don't eat diversely, farmers are not going to grow diversely. So as a brand, we really need to lead the charge to actually convince consumers and educate them on how their health or how their eating impacts their health. So we have a big program in terms of driving awareness online and various media channels to see the link between what you eat and your health. There's also various mechanisms in store when consumers are actually making the decision to choose products to consume at home. And it's basically tools to educate, reward, and inspire them, and even make their shopping journey more easier. So we're also partnering with NGOs.
No, keep going. Keep going. Finish your thought.
Yeah, no, we're also partnering with NGOs such as the WWF, as well as local farmers such as Wensleydale Farms, to actually increase the supply of these local indigenous crops so that we can actually bring it into our supply chain, into the products that we produce and make available to consumers.
Kim Reddy, two positive points that come out of the survey. One is that we are a nation that loves our bananas, and bananas are a high source of potassium. It is good for us. The second thing is it is becoming a whole lot easier to find healthier food.
Yes, definitely. So previously it was quite difficult to get access to it. With the emerging middle class, with retailers opening up in more areas, with convenience stores and spazas, etc., popping up everywhere, people have more access to these healthy foods. So, but the perception, though, is that it is expensive, and that is what tends to stop them from buying. So it's not about getting access to the foods, it's about how can I afford to pay for these foods, especially with the economy in South Africa at the moment and the disposable income shrinking on a daily basis. People have to look at what they buy, and perception, as we know, is reality.
You also have have to have an eye on the clock, because the most important meal of the day, or so my grandmother said, was breakfast, and I think that's a truism. But there's too much starch in South Africans' breakfast.
Absolutely. And it's driven by bread, it's driven by cereals and porridge as well. But again, it is something that people use to fill themselves up for longer, especially when you look in the rural areas and you look at the lower incomes. This is what they feed their kids as well, because it's a meal that will keep them going until they need to have their next meal, because the average meal in South Africa is 2 meals a day rather than 3. So people look for things that will help to keep their kids going until they can give them another meal.
Crystalline, in Durban, let me come back to you from Unilever. One of the other more concerning aspects in this survey is that there's too much learned behavior. Children are eating the same as their parents, and they are learning the same bad habits. That's also going to be difficult to change.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. It starts with education. Consumers or parents don't even know that what they're feeding their kids is actually starting from a very young age for them to eat unhealthily and to develop these behaviors. So it starts with the parents, it starts with us educating them, really making them aware that their habits are impacting the health of their entire family. So it starts with them, it starts with us as well to drive the awareness, and that is something that is definitely high on our radar.
And that's where we are going to leave it to both of you. Thank you very much indeed.